I think within a minute of our first conversation, I was like, this is my person. Like, we just instantly clicked. It was like talking to a sister. And I now tell everybody it was the best financial decision I've ever made.
Top leaders, meaningful conversation, actionable advice, bulldoze complacency, ignite inspiration, create impact. Produced by the Southwestern family of companies. This is the Action Catalyst. Today, we welcome Amber Shae Friedman, a sales leader and a trailblazer for women in the RV industry. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Tell us about yourself and your background and how you got to where you are today.
Well, I would say my sales journey began in 2012 with becoming a sales guide with Land Rover. I met someone and they said, would you like to sell cars? And I said, why would I want to sell cars? And he said, well, you would be really good at it. So the job that I was at was not the best paying job. And I was like, sure, why not? I don't have kids right now. I was 24 at the time. So I just went ahead and took the leap and went into sales. That's pretty much where I learned how to be a salesperson, how to interact with people. So that was great. I did that for 3.5 years. So from there, I was introduced to RV sales, which even though it's spelled sales, they are much different. And the way that you interact with customers and the culture is a lot different as well. RVs are used to travel and for families to spend time together. And they call it the RV lifestyle. And I really loved it because it was a lot of helping people achieve, this dream of spending time with their kids or their families or traveling in a less expensive way and, create memories that they would share with, generations. And so it was really great.
We know you've taken part in coaching through the Southwestern Coaching team, which you say has had a huge impact on your business. What did you take away from that coaching process?
Well, that's a great question. So I did really well in RV sales until March 2019 is when I had the worst month in my sales career. Literally sold 0 RVs. And there was a lot of factors in play, but to me, they're all excuses. I just knew that something needed to change, right? So my boyfriend had been using a coach for years, and he said it just completely changed his career, that he didn't think he would be the level that he is without it. And so he was like, you really need to talk to my guy. Just hear them out. At that point, I was like, I'll try it. And he's like, I'll talk to him. And he was great. And so he explained the process, explained what they do. And the one thing that I really remember was when he told me the price, the first thing I thought was, well, I just made $0 last month. Is this really something I need to be spending money on? And he said, well, let me ask you this, how many extra RVs do you think you would need to sell in order to make that a month? And I said, well, depending on the RV, 1.5. And he goes, okay, well, and he said, here are the statistics for people that do coaching with us. And here's how much they improve and how much their production grows. So having said that, don't you think it's pretty feasible to say that this would pay for itself essentially? And I was like, well, I cannot argue with math. So basically, I did the quiz personality thing where they match you up with a coach. I thought that was just great because there's a lot of it. I actually had interviewed 2 or 3 other coaches that I knew to make sure that, I was making the right decision. And of course, I think within a minute of our first conversation, I was like, this is my person. We just instantly clicked, and it was like talking to a sister. So she really sold me on the program because the other people I had interviewed, they were good and I'm sure they would have helped me in some way, but there's no doubt in my mind that you guys were the best choice. And I now tell everybody it was the best financial decision I've ever made because my sales speak for themselves after I started working with her. What's great about coaching is that, and what really helped me personally was at the RV place, at Land Rover, they offered us a lot of training, sales training. They offered us just a lot of resources, a great CRM system. RV industry, everybody pretty much knows that it's a couple of years behind technology wise than auto industry and that sort of thing. And so there just wasn't a lot of resources, or training or any of that stuff. And I'm a big learner and I like to know what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. And the processes and the procedures that coaching gave me is what I really needed. I needed someone to teach me how to manage my time properly and use a calendar, and just have someone to hold me accountable for my actions and making sure I was doing what I needed to do. And I'm the kind of person where if you just tell me what to do, I'll do it. But if I don't know what to do, especially after having a 0-month thing when your mindset is kind of messed up at that point. And so the processes and procedures and all of the resources was, I think, what the coaching part gave me that was the most useful, the confidence that I needed to know that I could achieve what I knew I was capable of. I learned to not tell clients or customers what to do or what to think, but rather just ask them questions in a way that helps them come to the conclusion that it's best for them. When I started in sales at Land River, I was the only female there. They told me pretty much, as a female, you will either fail instantly or beat everybody. That's just how the car industry, I guess, sees it. So they said, so good luck, but we're not really counting on you lasting very long. And so, of course, to me, that means, well, I only have one option. I have to beat everybody. So that's what I did, and then at the RV dealership, I was also the only female. So that is a challenge in its own, especially in industries where it's male dominated and there are a lot of preconceived notions on females, and, even customers not realizing it will assume that I don't know as much about cars or about RVs just because I'm a female. And so I would say that was always a challenge for me. And then what was interesting about being the only female in sales is that you are told, or just in sales in general, in a lot of the transactional sales worlds, you're told what to do. Here's how you do it. Follow these rules and good luck, And so I definitely had an employee mindset that I was limited, as far as how I could reach out to people or what kind of marketing I was able to do. We had a marketing team that marketed for the dealerships. And so I was counting on that. I was kind of counting on people walking in to the dealership looking for an RV. And so that limits you, especially when you're having a bad month kind of thing. And so, learning really to, like I said, the confidence thing, and learning that even if you aren't technically the business owner, you can still have a business owner mindset. And what that allowed me to do was realize that I actually bring a very unique perspective to the RV industry as a female. It's not something that's hindering me. It's something that's unique about me that I believe our viewers will appreciate, because they don't really hear that. They don't hear a voice, from my perspective, explaining things the way that, females or families or anything would like to hear. And so what it really allowed me to do was branch out. So the first thing I started doing is, okay, I can think like a business owner, even though I'm a W-2 employee. So let's, figure out how I can do that. And so I started reaching out to other people in the industry that I felt had the same values as me as far as customer service and just helping people. I ended up getting in touch with the RV Women's Alliance. And so they asked me to be on their board. And so I helped with a lot of different things. And that was great seeing it. And then when I started helping and working with them, they had just started. Now they're soaring, and they have, a website and a YouTube channel and everything. And they've really given women in the RV industry a voice, but also it's not just for women, right? Men can be members as well. And we need men in there to help us. And so otherwise it's not equality, right? So it was all about education and helping spread the word that, hey, women do sell RVs, and they also are technicians. They also are at factories making RVs. So it's not just men, and it can be fulfilling for women as well. So that was really great. And I also, a hobby of mine is writing. I've always loved just writing articles and stuff. So I contacted a company called Go Rollick, who helps customers who are affiliated with, say, like they're veterans or affiliated with, State Farm or just different organizations, helps them link up with dealerships to get specific type of discounts. And so I reached out to them, and they have a consumer facing website, and they had me a couple of articles, and And I sent them a couple of edits just because I'm like that person that sees typos and stuff. And then they contacted me and said, hey, we don't have an RV expert here. They said, would you mind writing some articles for us? And I was like, actually, I would love to do that. That's just something that I had actually asked my own company if I can do that for them because they had a blog, and they said, no, we pay someone to do that. So I said, okay. So I just started writing for this company, and they started publishing articles that I would write as far as, the top 5 fifth wheels or the top 10 travel trailers or the different things to do. And it just to help educate people, because I feel like with anything, when you're new to something like RVing, there's so many resources out there, information online, that it can be very overwhelming. And I honestly could never really find just an easy to read how to know the difference, like how to know the difference between the different types of RVs, because there's different types. You drive some, you pull some. And so just being able to create that and give that to my customers as a resource was really awesome. And so there was just a great opportunity to get my voice out there. And at the end of the day, what it helped me do is create my own brand. That having a business owner mindset means, yes, I work for a company, and yes, I'm representing that company. But at the end of the day, I want people to remember me. I want people to think, oh, I bought an RV from Amber. You should go see her, And so it's all about creating that presence in the RV community. It just grew into this really great, unique, that no one else out there is like me. And so it's been really awesome.
A lot of people can probably relate to your story and your circumstances. What advice would you give to listeners who are struggling right now to meet their goals?
The biggest piece of advice that I can give, that I think that's helped me the most, is that you can do anything you set your mind to. Never let someone tell you what you can or can't do. And it's one of those things where they say, if you don't believe in yourself, how can anybody else really believe in you? And so I think it's really important to know why you're doing what you're doing. And for me, realizing that helping people is the reason I was selling RVs. It wasn't the money. It wasn't anything other than I just wanted to help people. And so my advice would be to find your why, find what gets you out of bed every day. And if you're getting out of bed to a job that isn't super exciting to you, you're still getting out of bed for it. So there's got to be something that's pulling you towards that. So identifying that, and then realizing that you can do basically whatever you set your mind to. Because I feel that if you set your mind to something and you truly believe in it, it will happen, good or bad. So it's really about, focusing on your mindset and knowing that you have full control over certain things. And it's really your schedule and your mindset. And so you have full control over that, good or bad. So just be very aware of what you're thinking, what you're putting out there, because good or bad, it will come back to you. Just like that quote that says, whether you think you can or you can't, you're right.
If you enjoy this podcast, please make sure to subscribe. And to stay updated on everything that the Action Catalyst is up to, make sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Action Catalyst Podcast, and on Twitter at Catalyst_Action. And as always, thanks for listening.